Hello there everyone and welcome to a new review on the channel, and today we are looking at Scribe by Christian Grace and Illusionist. This is a new effect that hit the market that a lot of people had questions about its practicality. So I hope I can give you as much information as you need in order to make up your mind as to if Scribe is for you or if it isn't. So let's roll the intro and get straight into it. Perfect. So you decided to stick around, which means you want to learn more about Scribe. Now, what is Scribe? Scribe is essentially a thumb writing effect. I don't think I'm spoiling it because it does show it on the product page and it does say it. It's essentially a new envisioning of the gimmick that is going to let you write a bit more easier and a bit more clearer than you would normally. That's essentially what Scribe is. So let's roll a small performance now so you get an idea of how Scribe does kind of play out. Let's roll a small clip of me doing this to the camera. It won't be as good as if it was with the spectator, but it will still give you an idea. So let's roll the clip of it right now. Perfect, so let's do a small performance of Scribe. So you'd come out from your pocket with a $5 bill and you'll tell your spectator that you're gonna try and do something interesting with them. You're actually thinking of a number between 1 and 99. And all they have to do is not think of the same number that you're thinking of. As simple as that. So not think of the same number as you, and they get to win a $5. But instead of just naming a number out loud, you want them to do it into two parts so that you get a bit of a chance to influence them and maybe lead them the wrong path. They agree, and you tell them perfect. So now what I want you to do is think of the first digit. Just think of the first digit. And I want you to go up and down from that digit that you're on. Go up, down, up, down, up, down, and stop where you're at right now. You have the first letter, the first number. Perfect. What is it? It's a 3. So you're thinking of a 3. Now, I'm sad to tell you that your chances just went down because the first digit I was thinking of is a 3 as well. It's a 3 as well. I know you don't believe it, but I'll prove it to you. It's a 3 as well. So let's go for the second digit. Let's go for the second digit. This one, I won't try and influence you since your chances have went down. I just want you to think of one digit from 1 to 10, from 1 to 9, technically. And stop now. You have it? What is it? An 8. I can't believe it. I was thinking of 3 and 8. I was thinking of 38 as well. Like, I know you may not believe, but I was thinking of 38 as well. No, I can prove it. Here, take the $5 bill, take it. And then as they take it, they're gonna notice that there was actually a piece of paper inside of the bill. And on that piece of paper, it says, I am thinking of 38. And that is essentially a quick and small performance of Scribe. Okay, so that you saw is a quick performance of Scribe. Of course, making it with no spectator isn't as interesting or as convincing, but you do get the idea of how this would play out. So, having said that, let's now talk about where you purchase this, how much does it cost, and what do you get. So, you can purchase this at illusionist.com. I also know it is available at other magic shops as well. For example, Magic Dream or ALAKAZAM Magic. If you want to purchase this from ALAKAZAM, there is a discount code down below that you could use. But it will set you back $35 US, which is equivalent to around 47 Canadian and equivalent to around 37 pounds. So that is the price that you are going to pay for Scribe. And this is what you get. So you're getting this nice design box. Inside of this, you get a metal tin. Inside of this tin, as you open it, you are getting your main gimmick, which is the one that you saw me use in the performance. You're also getting your extra part of the gimmick because it is a 2-part gimmick. You're then getting some refills for your thumb writer, and you're also getting, once you pull out the compartment of those gimmicks inside, you're also going to get some business cards. You're going to, not business cards, but blank billets or blank cards. You're going to get 50 of them, I believe. I haven't counted them, but I do think it is 50 of them for you to practice and for you to perform with. But of course, these are not gimmicked or anything. You can use whatever you want. So that is what you get with your purchase. So having said all of this, let's continue on and talk about difficulty. So how difficult is Scribe to perform? Well, To start it off, Scribe is not extremely easy, but it's also not extremely hard. I do think that Scribe will take practice, and Christian Grace also advises that in the tutorial. You may think this is easy, but it will require practice, not only as to getting used to the gimmick, but it will take some practice as to writing with the gimmick and the way it is, because this is a two-part gimmick. It's not as others that you may have in your shelves or that you may know. This is a bit different, so you will have to adjust the way you hold things, the way you interact with objects, the way you hold your hands to make them free. So you're going to have to practice all of that. And then you're also going to have to practice to get good writing. Because as you see, even at this point, my writing is okay. It's not great. It's okay. And I think it kind of flies by spectators. But I did have like family members, you know how they are. They're more critical. They told me, oh, you had to have something in your hand to write with. Now, that's a two-pronged comment. One, it's a positive because it means that they didn't see me move my thumb or anything at the time of writing, which I think I've done pretty well in the performance as well. But it is a nod also that they may think that if it is a bit too impossible and that I may have just written it on the spot. But that, again, is from Magical Family that have probably seen me perform 10,000 effects by this point. So they're as good magicians as I am basically at this point in terms of how many things I've showed them. But I think a spectator in a normal scenario, even though he may think that, the fact he's not going to see it, he's going to be like, how the hell did he still do this? Even if he thinks he knows the method, and this could, of course, be handed out. So difficulty-wise, it's not necessarily in terms of the effect, it's in the sense that you need to practice to make this as smooth as possible and to make it as natural as possible. Because when you're using this, you don't want to just have a billet just like this in your hand and then ask them, can you name me a number? 57? 57? Look at what I wrote down. And it says 57, because I think that makes it obvious. And I think that the way Christian shapes this with the bill and with the idea of using a bill as cover and as a story, and the fact that the spectator doesn't know until you give it to them, where like the billet falls off from inside of the bill or behind the bill, I think it makes a good surprise and removes the idea that you may have done something, because you're always talking with the bill, you're showing it around, and it makes it a bit more natural. So all in all, difficulty-wise, it's not in the terms of sleight of hand or anything. It's in terms of making it as natural as possible. So if you want to perform this or practice this, the best way I found is just take out your phone or take out your tablet or your PC and just go on a random number generator or Siri or Google Assistant and ask for a number from 1 to 100 and just practice yourself in the mirror or film yourself while you're doing it to see the way your hand is moving and how you're interacting with it. So it's not difficult per se, but it is something that will require practice, because I believe it is a bit knacky or knackier than the normal way you use a thumb writer or a boon writer, as you may say. So it will require a bit of practice. Moving on now into practicality. So how practical is this? Well, regarding practicality, you will need a few things. You're going to need to carry around, of course, some paper billets or your business cards or something to write on. So of course you're going to need that. If you want to do the performance with the bill, you're going to need to have a bill, but that again in your wallet. This goes in your wallet as well, so it's not much. And then you'll need to carry your gimmicks, but those can fit inside of your pocket, and they're also made as to essentially be retrieved and work as a unit. So you don't have to have one in one pocket, one in the other, and then, kind of fish for them in your pockets. They're in a unit. So when you go in your pocket to get the bill, you basically you're putting on both gimmicks at the same time as you're moving the bill or the billet from your pocket. So in that regard, it's very fair. So you will have to carry around those two gimmicks, a bill and a business card, or a billet, or just the two gimmicks and a business card. Okay, so that's what you're going to have to carry around in order to do Scribe. Now let's talk about angles. What are the angles for Scribe? The angles for Scribe are essentially a 180. You can't really have anyone behind you due to the nature of the effect. I think that kind of makes sense. You could maybe make it a 270 degree. So for example, you could maybe just hold it a bit like this, right, as you're talking. So it would basically stop some of the angles, but still if there's someone fully behind you or something, they could maybe get a glimpse of something. But I'd say maybe 180, 270 degrees is kind of the ballpark that you're looking for in terms of angles. In terms of reset, it really doesn't have much of a reset because you're giving out this. And then as you go in your pocket to put away the bill or whatever, you're putting the gimmick back into place. So then for the next table, you just have to make sure everything is rearranged and prepared in your pocket. And you go to the next table. So the reset will take a few seconds, not much. And it could technically be done in front of the spectators as you put the bill here. If you're fiddling a bit in your pocket with the bill, it doesn't create much issue. And then as you go to the next table, you're just going to take a billet and place it in your pocket as well to be ready to do the performance. Okay. So the reset is relatively quick. Inspectability, well, everything is inspectable. If you use a bill, it's inspectable. If you use this, I mean, they could keep this. So of course that's inspectable. Anything else, they don't really have to inspect. So there's nothing really about that. And the last thing that I can mention is you don't need a table for this. You can do this standing up, sitting down. It is no problem. So you don't need any other restrictions. You don't need any lighting restrictions or anything like that. And probably the last few things I can mention about practicality is that the gimmick will need to be touched up a bit, depending on your hand size. If you have really big hands like me, you'll probably not have to do anything with the gimmick. If you have smaller hands or thinner hands or more muscular hands, then you're gonna have to maybe alter the gimmick a bit, but it's done super easy. It's no arts and crafts or anything like that. It goes really quickly. So you do it relatively quickly. And also the way the gimmick works is you don't really have to be scared about flashing or anything, if that makes any sense. I think it's pretty self-contained and it's gonna fly by in most scenarios. There's no issue about that. And also if you want to replace the lead in your gimmick, it's relatively easy. They give you a few of it, and then if you want, you can just take any one that you use for your usual boon riders or whatever. I think at the moment illusionists are not selling refills of the lead, but maybe they will in the future. That remains to be determined. So having said that, where would you perform this? So this can be pretty much performed anywhere depending on the routine that you do. If you want to do it as a close-up thing with a bill, go ahead. If you want to do it as a stage prediction, go ahead. If you want to do it as a one ahead, go ahead. So you can pretty much perform this in almost any scenario, whether it's walk around, table hopping, stage, parlor. Depending on the routine, you can find a use for this. There's a ton of routines out there that I've seen people use on stage and parlor that use a nail rider or a boon rider in them. So you can definitely apply that to those routines as well. You can apply this new gimmick to those routines when you do it. So it is very, very versatile in the places where you perform, depending on the routine. So this is not depending on the gimmick and what you're using. It's depending on the type of routine that you want to do. That's going to determine the environment you can use it on, because you can pretty much use it anywhere. So having said that, what are the positives and negatives of Scribe? Let's start with the negatives. So one of the negatives of Scribe is that it is a two-part gimmick, which means that contrary to the other style of riders, you will have to carry around two gimmicks and you will have to conceal a bit more than you are used to. Instead of having the ability to have to just maybe conceal your thumb or anything like that, or maybe, while you're talking, you can open up your fingers. Here, you can't really have that because you're a bit more constrained by having two gimmicks in play. But the drawback of that is that you have to carry around two gimmicks, but the good part of it is that it gets you better writing, it gets you clearer writing than it would without it. Another negative that I may have, that you may find with this as well, is that it will take more practice than you envision. So this is not something you're going to take and be able to write fluently and use fluently without it looking hokey. You may think you're doing it perfectly, but then in the real world, you may find out that spectators kind of see through what you're doing. So this will require a bit more practice than you're thinking of. So if you think that this is essentially, if you're someone that doesn't like nail riders, boon riders, and you think that this is essentially something that you're going to pick up and make you an expert in the field, it will, but with practice. It's not something that's just going to pick up and you're instantly going to become divination expert. So keep that in mind. I know normally that shouldn't be a negative practice, but I do think that Kind of a bit of the way this marketed is that, you know, you're going to buy this and you become a god of nail writing. I think that yes, but you will have to put practice. So I do want to warn you, if you're someone that doesn't want to practice this or isn't willing to put the time into learning something like this, you're going to be a bit disappointed. So I'm just giving this as a heads up. So moving forward now to the positives. What are the positives of Scribe? Well, one, the tutorial is very, very good, which is something I believe I missed in what you're getting. But yes, the tutorial is very, very good. The props you're getting are very, very good. It's going to last you pretty much a lifetime and a very long time. There's the routining that you have with this is very good. The quality of the writing is better than most, so you will get that as well. And it also helps in the way that this is shaped. It helps you let you move your hands a bit more freely when you're writing, because you have some support when you're writing. It makes it a bit easier to move while you're writing instead of some normal boon writers where you have to stand still when you're doing the writing, then move. Here you can technically write while you're moving because you have some support to do that, and it's going to let you get better writing as well. So that's pretty much all I have to say for Scribe. So having said that, would I recommend it, and what would I rate it out of 10? So would I recommend Scribe? I think that if you're someone that wants to use a nail writer and wants to use one that is a bit more efficient, I think that yes, I would recommend this for you. I think that you could get a kick out of this if you put the practice in and you practice it to make it as seamless and as motionless and kind of as natural as possible. Then I would. If you're not a fan of boon writers, so if you don't like that, if you don't like nail writers, you've never been a fan of them, and you hope that this is going to be for the revolution that's going to make you an expert in the field without any practice, then this is not necessarily for you. But I do think this is a good product. I think that you will get a kick out of using it. I'm personally not someone that uses a lot of nail writing in their routines, so this is not something that I'm going to do per se. This is not something that's going to go in my act or something that I'm going to use in my walk around scenarios. I am possibly going to use it here and there, but it's not something that is going directly into my act, which means that I can't rate it as highly as other products. But it is still good. It does what it's supposed to do, and it's an innovation. It's an advancement on the discipline of nail writing and boon writing, and I think that it has a place on the market, and I think it will find a very good audience, and it's going to inspire people to work on their nail writing a bit further. So I do think it's a good product, but it's not something that's going to go in my show per se. So I'm giving Scribe by Christian Grace a 7 out of 10. So a 7 out of 10 for me. So, having said that, that's all I have to say about Scribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see everyone in my next reviews. Have a great one, and